A tough break just stirred up the gumbo down at camp and has DAT fans feeling a bit uneasy. One of our brightest future stars walked off the field today with an unexpected physical issue. We really hope this offensive spark plug bounces back fast. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more daily content. New Orleans Saints wide receiver Jordyn Tyson walked off the practice field on August 13th with an apparent leg injury and failed to return for the remainder of the session. This development stings for supporters who have kept a close eye on the young pass catcher throughout camp. Tyson arrived with immense promise and carries the mantle of being our receiver of the future, even if he currently works behind Chris Olave on the depth charts. Watching a bright prospect go down like this creates an immediate wave of anxiety across the fan base. Think about it this way: how much can we really afford to lose when we are banking on young guys to step up? The latest report from NFL.com highlights that while he remains a secondary option for now, his upside is undeniable, especially in deeper fantasy leagues where he stands out as an intriguing flex play. Many of us are now wondering if this setback is just a minor precaution or something that could linger long enough to derail his development during these vital summer weeks. We know Tyler Show is fighting to prove he belongs, but the reality is that the offense requires Tyson to be healthy to reach its full potential. Does this specific injury signify a need for our front office to pivot toward adding more veteran insurance before the regular season begins? Seeing a talent like Tyson leave the grass early makes every supporter hold their breath, hoping for a clean bill of health. With this uncertainty hanging over the wide receiver room, we have to address the real concern regarding the depth behind our top targets. What does this absence actually mean for the target distribution during the upcoming preseason games and beyond? The sudden silence on the practice field when a promising athlete goes down is something no fan wants to witness, especially during these sweltering August afternoons. Jordyn Tyson has shown flashes of brilliance that suggest he could eventually shoulder a massive load for our offense, making this leg injury on August 13th feel particularly heavy for those watching closely. We knew he was training to climb the ladder behind Chris Olave, but his momentum took a jarring hit when he stopped participating entirely yesterday. The bottom line here is that the organization was likely counting on these specific reps to determine how he handles a heavy workload under the pressure of a professional schedule. Does anyone honestly believe he can afford to miss time while trying to prove he belongs as a primary target? It is worth noting that while Tyler Show remains in the mix, his inability to generate consistent production keeps the focus squarely on whether our staff will force other hands to find that reliable secondary spark. History tells us that injuries this early can ripple outward, affecting chemistry and timing that takes months to refine. Our leadership, under the guidance of Kellen Moore, is undoubtedly looking at the training staff reports with a mix of patience and urgency behind closed doors. They have to decide if this is merely a minor soreness requiring a few days of rest or a signal that the depth we have is thinner than we realized. If we cannot rely on our young playmakers to stay on the grass, does it force the front office to shift their focus before the roster deadline? Watching a bright future get sidelined in mid-August leaves us all wondering if our offense has the necessary stability to compete, regardless of the talent on the field. That covers the primary incident, so now let's get into what these specific developments actually mean for our squad. The truth is, losing a rising talent like Jordyn Tyson during these dog days of August alters our internal rhythm significantly. Why does this matter right now? Because our coaching staff relies on these reps to map out their offensive identity before September arrives. With Tyson sidelined, the immediate roster impact forces the team to lean heavily on existing rotation players who have yet to prove their ceiling. Does this move the needle for our postseason aspirations? It certainly complicates the way we view our depth behind the starters, as the path to victory relies on having reliable playmakers available for every single snap. We are watching a situation where a potential breakout star is effectively hitting the pause button, leaving us to wonder how long this recovery will dictate our training strategy. If he misses precious time, it ripples through our ability to test complex schemes, essentially stalling the growth of our passing attack. Looking ahead toward the regular season, the upcoming matchups become far more daunting when you cannot trust your secondary options to bridge the gap during key drives. Our playoff chances depend on the flexibility of this receiver unit, and without Tyson at full speed, that margin for error shrinks noticeably. Is there a genuine concern that we might be forced to change our entire approach for the opener? Given the circumstances, the coaching staff likely needs to pivot their focus to keep the system moving, even while the training room manages his recovery. Seeing a young athlete exit early is never simple, and until we see him back on the field, that uncertainty will continue to cloud the outlook for our entire passing game. The immediate upside to having Jordyn Tyson in our rotation centers on his long-term potential as the future primary target for this offense. He possesses the raw athleticism that makes him a dangerous weapon, providing us with a legitimate vertical threat even while he develops behind an established star like Chris Olave. And I cannot stress this enough, the versatility he brings as an intriguing flex play in deeper leagues offers our coaching staff a rare type of flexibility that most depth charts simply lack. However, the downside remains just as obvious because his inability to stay on the grass hampers the chemistry building that is so vital during these summer weeks. If he misses significant time, we are left betting on unproven assets who have yet to show the production required to fill that void. Media analysts are closely watching how Tyler Show responds to these extra reps, though his recent performances have left some observers questioning whether he can reliably serve as our secondary option. Will the organization need to search for veteran insurance on the open market, or are we comfortable leaning on this current group if the injury lingers? Here's where I land on this. While the excitement surrounding Tyson is justified, relying on a player who is currently struggling with health is a dangerous gamble for a team trying to find its identity before September. It feels like we are caught in a cycle where the potential for a breakout season is constantly being tested by these minor setbacks. If the training staff reports suggest this is merely a minor issue, then we can breathe easier. But watching a high upside prospect sideline like this certainly gives a die-hard fan plenty of reasons to worry about our offensive consistency moving forward. When you synthesize the recent report of Jordyn Tyson leaving practice on August 13th with the broader outlook for our organization, a clearer picture of our upcoming season emerges. This franchise is currently walking a tightrope between building for the future and demanding immediate results. And losing a receiver of Tyson's potential, even temporarily, highlights how thin our margin for error has become. We should feel a mix of guarded patience and restlessness, as we are all waiting to see if he can truly evolve into a consistent threat beyond Chris Olave. Here's what people are missing. That specific leg injury occurred during a vital window where young players must prove they can withstand the grind of a professional season. If Tyson remains a project player, are we really prepared to rely on the current receiver room to support our offensive goals? While NFL.com notes his promise as a flex option in deep fantasy leagues, his path to becoming a WR1 remains stalled by the sheer necessity of health. Do you believe the coaching staff should prioritize getting Tyson back on the field immediately once he is healthy? Or should they proceed with extreme caution to protect his long-term availability for the years ahead? Furthermore, if he continues to miss time, would you prefer the front office to seek a veteran free agent now or trust the existing depth chart as it currently stands? We want to hear what you think about this situation down in the comments section below. We are all pulling for a quick recovery so our passing attack can finally find its rhythm as we move closer to our opening game. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel.